There is no doubt that Terraria has a lot of weapons, so many weapons in fact that some of them might get lost in the shuffle. Today I wanted to go over just a couple of these weapons that might slip between the cracks, but they're definitely worth checking out on your next playthrough. Also, there are no summoning weapons in this video since I don't really play summoner. This will mainly just focus on range, melee, and mage. I'll go over a couple of weapons in pre-hard mode, as well as a few more at various points throughout hard mode. First, in pre-hard mode, we have Bone Javelins, and these are consumable range weapons that inflict a penetrated debuff, and basically that debuff does a little bit of damage over time for about 15 seconds, and the damage can be incremented if you stick more of these into an enemy at once. To actually get the Bone Javelin, you have to go to the underground desert, find some desert fossil, and then you bring them to an extractinator to get sturdy fossil, and then you can turn the sturdy fossil into Bone Javelin. By the time you're able to do all that, you may have some better range options available, but if you do happen to go to the underground desert early enough, they're a pretty decent carry through a lot of pre-hard mode, maybe up until Skeletron. They're great at single target enemies such as some of the early bosses and mobs, so definitely keep an eye out on your next playthrough. Next, we have the Book of Skulls. This is a magic weapon that shoots out skull-like projectiles. The projectiles are kind of slow, but the weapon itself has a very strong homing ability, and it can pierce enemies as well up to 2 times. But what is the issue with this weapon? Well, for one, this book is only dropped by Skeletron. Now, most people just beat Skeletron once and then they go raid the dungeon. I know I don't usually stick around to fight him multiple times, so if you don't get the book on the first fight, then you're not gonna really know about it. Even with the other magic weapons available at this point, this is still a decent option. You don't have to worry about aiming since it has the homing ability, and it does offer a decent degree of crowd control with its ability to pierce. I was also surprised at how well it was able to handle these early hard mode mobs, so while it does get outshined by the other options available around it, it still can hold its own pretty well. Moving on to hard mode, we have the icicle. The icicle is a melee weapon that can be obtained from multiple hard mode enemies in the ice and snow biomes. What I like about the icicle is that the projectile lingers in midair for a few moments before disappearing, and it can also pierce, so I find it very useful for moments where you need some sort of aerial denial, and also for enemies that are pursuing you, as it'll pierce them and do a lot of damage multiple times to them if they're long enough. Some things to consider with the icicle and why it might not be on your radar. For one, you do have to go to the snow biome to farm it from specific enemies. And there are some safer options at the beginning of hard mode for melee, such as the flying knife or the shadow flame knife. Those are a little bit longer range and they can keep you safe. But I feel like the icicle is pretty good at handling those early hard mode crowds, and also some of the early bosses like the Queen Slime, even the Destroyer and the Twins. I feel like the icicle are pretty good, especially the Destroyer since it's a segmented enemy. So it's worth checking out as an alternative early hard mode melee weapon. Next we have Life Drain. Life Drain is a magic weapon and it does damage to enemies that are close to your cursor. It also has a secondary effect that will grant you an additional amount of life regeneration when using it. Some people may find the DPS aspects of Life Drain to be a little unremarkable, and admittedly it's not the best when it comes to single target enemies and bosses. Also, the life regen aspects of it aren't too crazy. For me personally, I never really notice it that much when it comes to regening my health when I'm using it. But where it really shines is its multi-target damage. I find this weapon impeccable against crowds like the Goblin Invasion and the Pirate Invasion, and it's very good against the Destroyer. I mentioned the Destroyer a lot because that was my gatekeeper when I first started, so if you're getting gatekept by the Destroyer, you might want to look into Life Drain. It's also good at handling the adds that spawn during the Queen Slime fight, but outside of multi-target enemies, it does get outpaced by some of the other magic weapons that are available to you as you start hard mode, like the Crystal Serpent, the Meteor Staff, the Crystal Storm. But if you're farming Crimson Mimics and just happen to get one anyway, I think Life Drain is good enough to hold you over until more powerful magic weapons are available. Last is the Snowman Cannon. The Snowman Cannon is a rocket launcher that shoots many different types of rockets. Some of them can actually break tiles. The rockets you should be using are Rocket 3, which are the strongest ones that do not destroy tiles. The rockets that it shoots are homing, and it doesn't deal self damage if you're caught in the blast radius. This is one of my favorite range weapons, and it's also the weapon I used to beat the Moon Guy when I did my first successful Master Mode hardcore run. This weapon is really strong and can pretty much carry you through the rest of the game when you get it. It is Post-plantera. The main issue is trying to obtain this weapon. You have to do the Frost Moon and then get to the last few waves of the Frost Moon, and then when the Ice Queen spawns, hope you're strong enough to beat her, and then you have a chance for it to drop from the Ice Queen once you defeat her. But once you do manage to get the Snowman Cannon, it is gonna take you to the rest of the game pretty much, so it is definitely worth grinding through the Frost Moon to get it. I recommend checking it out on your next playthrough if you've never used this weapon before. So I hope this video inspired you to check out or use some of these weapons if you've never seen them or used them before. They're very capable for the point of the game where you can obtain them, so they're very much worth checking out on your next playthrough. Go ahead and comment and let me know what your favorite weapons are that you think are flying under people's radar, and like and subscribe for more videos to come. I will try to do some more Terraria videos in the future. Thanks for watching.